My hands were shaking as I gripped the coffee mug, the kitchen clock ticking like a bomb about to go off. For days. For damn days since Lauren vanished to Arizona with Ryan, the guy she swore was just a buddy, the guy she laughed off as more into Chris Hemsworth than you, Ethan. I hadn't slept, hadn't eaten, just stood there in our cramped kitchen, the smell of burnt toast filling the air, when the front door creaked open. She was back. Just like that. Like she hadn't ripped my world apart. Lauren dropped her backpack by the door, tossed her keys into the wooden bowl on the counter, and didn't even look at me. "Hey, we're out of almond milk," she said, her voice casual, like she was commenting on the weather. Her phone was already in her hand, fingers dancing across the screen, typing to someone who sure as hell wasn't me. I stood there, the mug burning my palms, feeling like a stranger in my own home. This wasn't the woman I married. This was someone else, someone who'd left me behind long before she stepped off that plane. I said her name, Lauren, my voice cracking. No response. I tried again, louder. She sighed, still glued to her phone. "What? Ethan?" she snapped, like I was interrupting something important. My stomach twisted. I asked how her trip was, forcing the words out. "Incredible," she said, finally glancing up, but her eyes slid past me. "We did this sunrise yoga thing on some red rock. Total game changer." Yoga. Right. I wanted to scream, ask if her game changer involved Ryan's hands on her, but I didn't. Not yet. She breezed past me, heading upstairs to shower, leaving her phone face down on the counter. The water started running, a distant hiss, and I stared at that phone like it was a loaded gun. I'd never been the guy to snoop, never wanted to be. But 4 days of silence, 4 days of her, just a friend, lies, had me on edge. My gut screamed she was hiding something, and I couldn't ignore it anymore. I picked up the phone. No passcode. It was like she was daring me to look. The first message I saw was from Ryan. "Still thinking about last night. Your trouble, L?" I'm hooked. My heart stopped. I scrolled, each word a knife. Pictures of them laughing, private jokes, him calling her my secret fire, her replying she didn't want to come back here, that this house felt like a cage. I froze on that one. A cage. That's what I was to her. Not a husband, not a partner, just a chain she wanted to break. The shower shut off. My pulse was pounding in my ears. I set the phone down, exactly where she left it, and waited. She came downstairs in a towel, hair dripping, skin glowing like she'd just won the lottery. She saw me, saw the look on my face, and didn't even blink. "Really, Ethan? You went through my phone," she said, her voice flat, like I'd betrayed her. I choked out, "You said he was gay." She rolled her eyes, rolled her damn eyes. "People change, okay? God, you're so dramatic." That's when I felt it, a crack deep inside, not loud, just final. Like the ground splitting under my feet. I asked how long she'd been lying. She shrugged, picking up her phone. "A few months. Maybe more." "What do you want me to say?" I wanted her to beg, to cry, to fight for us. But she didn't. She just walked to the bedroom, shut the door with a soft click, and left me standing there, the air thick with the truth I didn't want to face. Lauren was gone. The woman I loved was already someone else's. I sat on the kitchen stool, staring at the closed bedroom door, my hands still trembling from what I'd seen on Lauren's phone. The house was too quiet, like it was holding its breath, waiting for the next blow. Her keys glinted in the bowl, mocking me with their normalcy, like nothing had changed. But everything had. The dent from her backpack was still pressed into the living room carpet, a small, stupid reminder that she'd walked back into my life only to gut it. 2 hours passed. I didn't move. My mind was a loop of Ryan's texts, her words about our home being a cage, the way she rolled her eyes when I called her out. I kept thinking about the last year, every late night, work call, every time she'd laugh at her phone and say it was nothing, every morning she'd shower before coffee, smelling like secrets. How had I missed it? Or worse, had I seen it and just lied to myself? The door opened, and Lauren stepped out, dressed in jeans and a loose sweater, her hair blown dry, lips glossy. She looked like she was heading to a brunch date, not facing the wreckage of our marriage. She leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, and stared at me like I was a problem she had to solve. "So, what, Ethan? You're just gonna sit there all night?" she said, her voice sharp, like I was the one wasting her time. I laughed, a bitter, hollow sound that didn't feel like mine. "You're sleeping with him, Lauren, and you're pissed at me for finding out?" Her jaw tightened, but she didn't flinch. "I'm pissed because you're acting like this came out of nowhere. You've been checked out for months, Ethan. You stopped caring, stopped trying. You think I wanted this?" There it was, her flipping it back on me. I stood up, my chair scraping the floor. Don't do that. Don't make this my fault. I was here, Lauren. I cooked dinner, planned trips, asked you what was wrong when you just stare at your phone. I stayed. My voice shook, but I didn't care. You're the one who lied. Every day, you lied. She scoffed, looking away, her fingers tapping her arm like she was bored. Whatever. You want the truth? Fine. It's been 7 months. Maybe 8. Does it matter? The honesty hit like a punch, but it was her casual tone that twisted the knife. She didn't care. She wasn't sorry. She was just done. 7 months, I repeated, my voice barely a whisper. You came home every night, kissed me, slept in our bed, and you were with him. She smirked, a cruel little curve of her lips. You believed Ryan was gay, Ethan. You didn't ask questions. You didn't want to know. That's on you. Her words landed like shrapnel, because there was a sliver of truth in them. I'd ignored the red flags, her sudden gym obsession, the way she'd dress up for errands, the late nights she blamed on book club. I told myself she was just restless, that we'd get through it. I was wrong. I took a step toward her, my hands clenched. You used me. You let me think we were okay while you were off with him. Why, Lauren? Why not just leave? She looked away, not at the floor, but out the window, like she was already somewhere else. Silence stretched between us, heavy and suffocating. Then she said, I don't know, Ethan. It just happened. Ryan saw me. You didn't. That was it. The final cut. I felt something inside me break, not with a crash, but with a quiet snap, like a bone giving way under too much pressure. I asked the one question I hadn't dared to yet. Do you love him? She didn't answer, just stared out the window, her face blank. That silence was louder than any confession. I pointed to the stairs. Pack your stuff. Get out. She didn't argue, didn't cry, didn't even look surprised. She just nodded, like I'd told her to grab groceries, and walked upstairs. I stood there, listening to the creak of the floorboards, the zip of a suitcase, the soft thud of her folding clothes. She was leaving, and I wasn't sure if I was relieved or terrified. When she came back down, she had 2 bags slung over her shoulder, her laptop tucked under her arm. She paused at the door, looking at me like I was a stranger she'd once known. I'll text you about bills or whatever, she said, then stepped outside. The door closed, not a slam, just a click. And just like that, she was gone. I sank onto the couch, the house swallowing me in its stillness. Her perfume lingered in the air, that faint vanilla warmth I used to love. Now it felt like poison. I didn't cry, didn't scream. I just sat there, staring at the dent in the carpet, wondering how the hell I'd missed the moment my life started falling apart. The house felt like a tomb after Lauren left. I sat on the couch until the shadows stretched long across the floor, her perfume still hanging in the air like a ghost that wouldn't leave. The dent in the carpet was gone by morning, but the weight in my chest wasn't. I didn't sleep that night. Couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her smirk, heard her say, you didn't want to know. She was right, and I hated her for it. Around 2 in the morning, my phone buzzed. An unknown number. I knew it was Ryan before I even opened the message. Didn't think she'd actually leave tonight. Sorry you found out like that. The nerve of this guy, texting me like we were buddies, like he hadn't just blown up my life. My hand shook as I stared at the screen, his words blurring. I wanted to write back, tell him to go to hell, but I didn't. I just let the phone go dark, his message unanswered. 10 minutes later, another text. This time, Lauren. Ethan, don't make this a big deal. We'll sort it out. Just need some time, okay? Don't make it a big deal. 8 months of lies, her sneaking around with Ryan, kissing me with his touch still on her, and I was the one making it a big deal. I gripped the phone so hard my knuckles turned white, but I didn't reply. What was there to say? She'd already checked out. I was just the idiot who hadn't noticed. By dawn, I couldn't take it anymore. I started moving, not out of anger, but out of some desperate need to reclaim the space. I went through the house like a man possessed, pulling her stuff from every corner. Her yoga mat in the closet, her lavender candles on the bookshelf, that chipped mug she loved because it had personality. I folded her sweaters, stacked her novels, boxed up her essential oils. Every item felt like evidence of a life I thought we shared, now reduced to cardboard and packing tape. I worked until the sun was high, sweat soaking my shirt, the house growing emptier with every trip to the garage. By 9 in the morning, I was done. Her things were piled neatly on the porch, like a yard sale for a marriage that never really existed. I texted her once, your stuff's outside. Don't knock. She didn't reply, but I knew she'd come. She always got what she wanted. That night, I watched from the kitchen window as a silver pickup pulled up. Ryan's. Lauren stepped out, her hair catching the streetlight, and started loading the boxes. He leaned against the truck, arms crossed, sunglasses on even in the dark, smirking like he'd won the lottery. She didn't look at the house, didn't hesitate, just grabbed her things and climbed back into the cab. They drove off, and for a moment, the air felt cleaner, like I'd finally exhaled. But the relief didn't last. I went back inside, and the house was too big, too quiet. Her toothbrush was still in the bathroom, her slippers by the couch, that damn cinnamon candle she lit during rainstorms still half-burned on the coffee table. I sat on the edge of the bed, my bed now, and realized I didn't know how to be alone. Not because I missed her, but because her betrayal had carved out a hole so deep I didn't know where to start filling it. I opened my laptop, clicked on our shared photo folder, and regretted it instantly. There she was, grinning in Colorado, her arms around me at the county fair, her eyes closed like I was her whole world. I searched those pictures for cracks, for signs she was already gone, but all I saw was my own stupidity. I'd believed her. I'd trusted her. And she'd played me for a fool. The tears came then, hot and sudden, not because I wanted her back, but because I'd lost something I couldn't name. Trust, maybe. Or the version of me who thought love was enough. I slammed the laptop shut and lay back, staring at the ceiling, wondering how I'd missed the moment she stopped being mine. The next day, I dragged myself to work, answered emails, nodded through meetings, but I wasn't there. My buddy Mike called that afternoon, said he'd heard something was up. "You okay, man?" he asked. I told him the short version. Lauren cheated, left, end of story. He didn't push, just said, "That sucks. You need anything? I'm here." I said I was fine, because what else could I say? That my wife had been living a double life? That I was sleeping in a house that felt like a crime scene? Later, Lauren's sister, Emily, called. She didn't know anything, just said Lauren wasn't answering her texts. I told her the truth, kept it brief. Lauren was with Ryan. We were done. There was a long pause. Then Emily said, "I knew she was acting weird. I thought she was just finding herself or something." Finding herself? Sure. I didn't say much else, and she hung up with a quiet, "I'm sorry, Ethan." That night, I got a Venmo notification. Lauren sent me $60 for groceries and that candle I liked. No apology, just a transaction, like she was paying off a debt. I stared at the note, her little dig about the candle, and something snapped. I opened my messages, found Ryan's number, and typed, "She's all yours now. Don't ever text me again." I hit send before I could overthink it. He didn't reply, and I didn't care. I was done playing their game. The days after Lauren left blurred into a haze of autopilot. I went to work, stared at spreadsheets, microwaved leftovers, but it was like I was underwater, every move slow and heavy. The house didn't help. It was too quiet, too full of her absence. Her slippers still sat by the couch, like they were waiting for her to come back. I couldn't bring myself to move them, not yet. Every time I walked past, it was a reminder. She was gone, and I was still here, picking up the pieces. I started dreaming about her, not nightmares, but worse, dreams where we were still us. We'd be at the lake, her laughing as she splashed water at me, or on the couch, her feet in my lap, some dumb reality show flickering in the background. I'd wake up reaching for her, my hand brushing cold sheets, and the truth would hit me like a truck. She wasn't mine anymore. Maybe she never was. Those dreams were cruel, my brain taunting me with a life that didn't exist. Tuesday was the worst. I was at the grocery store, staring at a shelf of almond milk, trying to remember if she liked vanilla or plain. Then it hit me. It didn't matter. There was no her to buy for anymore. No more texts saying, "Babe, grab some almond milk." No more eye rolls when I got the wrong kind. I left the cart in the aisle and walked out, the fluorescent lights buzzing in my ears. Grief's a funny thing. It doesn't just hit you at the big moments. It sneaks up in the dairy section, right next to the oat milk. I called Mike that night, my best friend since high school. I hadn't told him everything, just the basics. But I needed to get it out, all of it. I told him about the texts, the 8 months of lies, the way Lauren didn't even fight for us. He listened, quiet for a long time, then said, "Man, I hate to say it, but I always thought you were more into her than she was into you." It stung, but he wasn't wrong. I'd been so busy loving her, I didn't see she'd stopped loving me back. Emily, Lauren's sister, stopped by the next day with a stack of mail Lauren hadn't forwarded. She stood on the porch, awkward, like she didn't know if she should hug me or run. You holding up? She asked. I shrugged, my face unshaven, my shirt wrinkled from sleeping in it. She lied to everyone, didn't she? I said, my voice rough. Emily nodded, hesitant. I think she lied to herself first. Made it easier to lie to you. She didn't stay long, just left the mail into quiet. You didn't deserve this, Ethan. I thought that was the end of it, but then I saw the photo. A mutual friend, some guy we knew from college, sent me a screenshot. No context, just the image. It was Lauren in Arizona, leaning against a red rock, laughing like she was 16 again. She was wearing my old flannel, the one she'd steal when I was on work trips, saying it smelled like me. Now she was wearing it with Ryan, his arm around her waist. The caption read, "Found someone who lights up my world." My stomach dropped. Lights up his world. That's what she was to him. To me, she was just a liar. I sat on the kitchen floor, the phone in my hand, staring at that picture until my eyes burned. I didn't cry, not this time. Something else was taking over, a cold, sharp anger that felt almost good. She wasn't just gone, she was rewriting our life, turning me into a footnote. I opened a new bank account that afternoon, closed our joint one, and started untangling the threads that still tied us together. No more seeing her coffee shop charges or weekend getaways with him. I was done being her safety net. I cleaned out the closet next, every drawer, every shelf. Her scarves, her running shoes, that journal she used to scribble in during yoga retreats. I found a ring box tucked in the back, the one from when I proposed, still holding the cheap promise ring we laughed about years ago. I didn't open it, just tossed it into a box with the rest. Everything went to the garage, except the flannel. That, I left on the bed. If she wanted it, she could come get it. But I knew she wouldn't. That night, I got an email from Lauren. No call, no text, just a cold, formal message. Subject, moving forward. 5 lines, no warmth. I didn't want it to end like this, Ethan. I never meant to hurt you. I was suffocating, and Ryan was there. I hope you can understand someday. Let me know about the lease. Suffocating. That's what she called our life. I didn't reply. She wasn't looking for forgiveness. She was looking for a clean exit. I wasn't giving her that. I boxed up the last of her things that weekend. Her old planner, a painting from our trip to Maine, a Polaroid camera she swore she'd use more. I found a note in her planner, just one line. I want to feel alive again. It wasn't about me. I knew that now. Lauren didn't want love. She wanted a rush, a high, something to make her forget the boredom she blamed me for. Ryan was just the latest fix. I put the boxes in the attic, not because I wanted to keep them, but because throwing them out felt like letting her win. The quiet in the house started to feel like a guest that wouldn't leave. No more of Lauren's humming in the kitchen, no more clinking of her mugs left on every surface, no more arguments about who forgot to lock the back door. Just me, the creak of the floorboards, and the weight of a life I didn't recognize. I thought I was getting used to it, starting to carve out some kind of normal. Then the twist came, and it turned everything upside down. It started with a knock on the door, late on a Thursday night. I was half asleep on the couch, some action movie droning on the TV, when the sharp rap jolted me awake. I checked my phone 11 at night. Nobody comes by that late, not Mike, not Emily, not even a delivery guy. My heart kicked up a notch as I peered through the peephole. It was Lauren, standing on the porch, her leather jacket zipped tight, her face pale under the streetlight. She looked scared. I opened the door, just a crack. "What are you doing here?" I asked, my voice low, braced for whatever game she was playing. She didn't meet my eyes, just hugged her arms to her chest. "Can I come in, Ethan? Please." Her voice was shaky, not the confident Lauren who'd walked out with Ryan's smirk backing her up. Against my better judgment, I stepped aside. She sat on the edge of the couch, hands twisting in her lap, like she was afraid to touch anything. I stayed standing, arms crossed, waiting. "Talk," I said. She took a deep breath, then looked up, her eyes wide, almost wild. "I messed up, Ethan. Big time. Ryan, he's not who I thought he was." I laughed, couldn't help it. "What? Your soulmate turned out to be a jerk." Shocker. But she shook her head, fast, like I didn't get it. "No, it's not that. He's dangerous, Ethan. I found something. On his laptop. He's been lying to me, to everyone." My stomach tightened. This wasn't the Lauren who rolled her eyes at my pain. This was someone spooked, someone running. "What did you find?" I asked, my voice steady, but my pulse was racing. She swallowed hard, glanced at the door like she expected Ryan to bust through it. "Files. Messages. He's mixed up in something bad, money stuff, maybe drugs, I don't know. People are after him. And now they know about me. I didn't know where else to go. Her words came out in a rush, and for the first time since she left, I saw fear in her eyes, real fear. I should have kicked her out. She'd lied, cheated, torn my life apart. But something in her voice, the way her hand shook, stopped me. Why should I believe you? I said, leaning against the wall, trying to keep my guard up. She pulled out her phone, hands trembling, and showed me a screenshot. It was a message, no name attached, just a string of numbers. You and your boyfriend better have the cash by Friday, or you're both done. My blood ran cold. This wasn't a bluff. This was real. Ethan, I'm sorry, she whispered, tears spilling down her cheeks. I didn't know it would go this far. I thought he was just exciting. I was wrong. I'm scared. I stood there, my mind spinning. Part of me wanted to scream, tell her she made her bed, let her lie in it. But another part, the part that still remembered the woman I married, couldn't turn her away. Not like this. I sat across from her, keeping distance between us. What do you want from me, Lauren? She wiped her eyes, her voice barely audible. Help me, please. I don't know what to do. I didn't answer right away. The room was thick with silence, the kind that makes your skin crawl. I thought about Ryan, his smug texts, his arm around her in that photo. Now he was dragging her into something dark, and somehow, I was getting pulled in too. Before I could say anything, my phone buzzed on the coffee table. A text from an unknown number. You've got her. Keep her safe. We'll talk soon. My heart stopped. I showed Lauren the screen, and her face went white. They know I'm here, she whispered, her voice breaking. They're watching us. I locked the door, checked the windows, my hands moving on instinct. The house didn't feel like mine anymore. It felt like a trap. Lauren was curled up on the couch, shaking, and I was standing there, caught between the woman who betrayed me and a threat I didn't understand. One thing was clear. Whatever Ryan had gotten her into, it wasn't over. And now, neither was I. The house was a fortress now, or at least I tried to make it one. Every window locked, every blind drawn. The deadbolt on the front door slid shut with a heavy thunk. Lauren sat on the couch, knees pulled to her chest, her eyes darting to the windows every time a car passed outside. The text from that unknown number, you've got her. Keep her safe. We'll talk soon, burned in my mind. Whoever was watching us, they weren't bluffing. I could feel it, like a noose tightening around the house. I stood by the kitchen counter, my phone in one hand, a baseball bat from the garage in the other. It wasn't much, but it felt better than nothing. Tell me everything, Lauren, I said, my voice low, trying to keep the panic at bay. What's Ryan into? Who's after him? No more lies. She nodded, her face pale, tears dried into streaks on her cheeks. For the first time, she looked small, like the confident woman who'd walked out on me had been stripped away. It started a few months ago, she said, her voice shaky. Ryan was always talking about these side hustles, ways to make quick cash. I thought it was just talk, crypto stuff, maybe reselling gear online. But then I saw things. Cash in his bag, late-night calls he'd take outside, names I didn't recognize. I thought he was just edgy, exciting. Until I found his laptop open last week. She paused, swallowing hard. There were emails, Ethan. Not normal ones. Instructions about moving money, meeting places, coded stuff I didn't understand. And threats. Someone saying he owed them, big time. Then I saw my name in one of them, like they knew I was with him. That's when I realized he wasn't just cheating with me, he was using me, maybe as a cover, maybe worse. My grip on the bat tightened. And you didn't think to tell me? You came back here, brought this to my door. She flinched, but didn't look away. I didn't know where else to go. Ryan's gone, Ethan. He took off yesterday, left me a note saying he'd handle it. I haven't heard from him since. I'm scared they're coming for me now. I paced the living room, my mind racing. Ryan, the smug bastard who'd texted me like he was doing me a favor, wasn't just a homewrecker, he was a coward, running from whatever mess he'd made and leaving Lauren to clean it up. And me, stuck in the middle, because I couldn't just throw her out. Not with someone out there watching, waiting. I stopped pacing, looked at her. Why should I help you, Lauren? After everything you did. Her eyes filled with tears again, but she didn't beg. You shouldn't, she said quietly. I don't deserve it. But I'm asking anyway, because I don't know how to fix this alone. Before I could answer, my phone buzzed again. Another text, same unknown number. Midnight. Park on 5th. Bring her. No cops. My stomach dropped. I showed Lauren the screen, and she gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. They mean business, Ethan. What do we do? I didn't know, but I knew we couldn't just sit here. I grabbed my keys, my mind spinning through options: call the police, run, hide. But every choice felt like a trap. We're not going, I said, more to convince myself than her. We stay here, figure out what they want. Lauren shook her head, frantic. You don't get it. These people don't negotiate. If we don't show up, they'll come here. Her voice cracked, and for a second, I saw the woman I used to love, terrified and out of her depth. It didn't erase what she'd done, but it made me pause. I called Mike, the only person I trusted. He picked up on the second ring, groggy. Ethan? It's late, man. I told him everything: Lauren's return, Ryan's mess, the threats. He was quiet for a moment, then said, You sure she's telling the truth? Sounds like she's dragging you into her drama. I glanced at Lauren, her face buried in her hands. I don't know, I admitted, but I can't just do nothing. Mike sighed. All right, I'm coming over. Don't open the door for anyone else. I hung up, grateful but uneasy. The clock read 11:15. 45 minutes until their deadline. I looked at Lauren, her eyes pleading, and felt the weight of every choice I'd made since she walked out. I didn't trust her, not fully, but I couldn't let her face this alone. Not yet. I sat across from her, the bat resting against my leg. If we get through this, Lauren, you're gone. For good. No more showing up, no more excuses. She nodded, tears falling again. I know. I'm sorry, Ethan. For everything. I didn't respond. Sorry didn't fix the past, and it sure as hell didn't fix the present. A noise outside made us both freeze, a low scrape, like a shoe on gravel. I gripped the bat, my heart pounding, and crept to the window. The street was dark, empty, but I swore I saw a shadow move near the neighbor's fence. Lauren whispered, They're here, aren't they? I didn't answer, just tightened my grip and waited, every nerve on edge. The house wasn't a fortress anymore. It was a cage, and we were the ones trapped inside. The scrape outside stopped, but my heart didn't. I stood by the window, baseball bat in hand, every muscle coiled tight. Lauren was on the couch, her breath shallow, eyes locked on the door. The clock read 11:35. 25 minutes until the deadline from that cryptic text: meet at the park or they'd come for us. Mike was on his way, but the street outside felt like a trap waiting to spring. I didn't know who was out there, Ryan's creditors, some lowlife he'd crossed, or worse, but I knew we couldn't just wait to find out. I turned to Lauren, her face pale in the dim light. Stay here. Don't move. She nodded, too scared to argue. I crept to the back door, bat raised, and checked the yard. Nothing but shadows and the neighbor's dog barking in the distance. My phone buzzed in my pocket, making me jump. It was Mike. I'm 5 minutes out. You okay? I texted back. Hurry. Something's off. I didn't know how to explain the feeling, but it was like the air itself was watching us. Back inside, Lauren was standing now, clutching her phone. Ethan, I got another message, she whispered, holding it out. I grabbed it and read. You didn't listen. We're close. My blood ran cold. They weren't waiting for midnight. I grabbed her arm, pulled her toward the hallway. We're getting out of here. Now. She didn't resist, just followed, her steps shaky. We made it to the garage, my old truck parked inside. I threw the bat in the back, told Lauren to get in, and slid into the driver's seat. The engine roared to life, louder than I wanted, but there was no time for stealth. As I hit the garage door opener, headlights flashed across the street, a car parked where it shouldn't be. My gut screamed trouble. I floored it, the truck lurching onto the road, the mystery car's lights flicking on behind us. Lauren gripped the door handle, her voice panicked. They're following us. I didn't look back, just kept driving, weaving through side streets, my hands tied on the wheel. The car stayed on us, not close enough to ram, but close enough to make it clear they weren't letting go. My phone rang. Mike? I put it on speaker. Ethan, where are you? I'm at your place. Nobody's here. I told him we were being tailed, gave him our location. Stay on the line, he said. I'm calling the cops. The word cops made Lauren tense. No, Ethan, they'll think I'm involved, she hissed. I shot her a look. You are involved, Lauren. You brought this to my door. She sank back, silent, as I turned onto a main road, the car still trailing. I didn't know where to go: police station, open highway, somewhere crowded. Every option felt like a gamble. Then the car behind us sped up, its engine growling. I braced for impact, but instead, it pulled alongside us. The window rolled down, and I saw him, Ryan, his face lit by the dashboard glow, a smirk twisting his lips. Pull over, Ethan, he shouted. Lauren gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. He's supposed to be gone, she said, her voice breaking. I didn't pull over. I hit the gas, cutting through a yellow light, but Ryan's car kept pace. My phone was still on with Mike, his voice crackling. Ethan, cops are en route. Get to the gas station on Elm. It's lit up. Lots of people. I nodded, even though he couldn't see me, and aimed for Elm Street, my heart pounding so hard I could barely think. Ryan's car swerved, cutting me off, forcing me to slam the brakes. The truck skidded, tires screeching, and stopped inches from his bumper. Before I could react, he was out of his car, striding toward us, a gun in his hand. A goddamn gun. Lauren screamed, and I threw my arm across her, like that'd do anything. Stay calm, I muttered, my voice shaking. Ryan tapped the gun on my window. Get out, both of you, he said, his voice cold, nothing like the smug text he'd sent. I glanced at Lauren, her eyes wide with terror, and realized she hadn't been lying. He was dangerous. I opened the door slow, hands up, and stepped out. Lauren followed, trembling. Ryan, what are you doing? She pleaded. He ignored her, his eyes on me. You should have stayed out of it, Ethan, he said, the gun steady. This didn't have to be your problem. I kept my hands up, my mind racing for a way out. You dragged her into this, I said, nodding at Lauren. You left her to clean up your mess. He laughed, sharp and bitter. She wanted excitement. I gave it to her. Now she's in too deep, and so are you. Headlights flashed behind us, Mike's truck, followed by a cop car, sirens blaring. Ryan's face twisted, and for a second, I thought he'd shoot. But he lowered the gun, bolted back to his car, and peeled out, the cops in pursuit. I sank to my knees, the pavement cold under me, Lauren sobbing beside me. Mike ran over, pulling me up. You okay, man? I nodded, barely able to speak. The cops took our statements, Lauren spilling everything, Ryan's shady deals, the threats, her stumbling into his world without knowing how dark it was. They didn't arrest her, but they weren't gentle either. You're lucky, one officer said. Your boyfriend's in deep with some bad people. She didn't correct him, just stared at the ground. They caught Ryan an hour later, pulled him over on the highway. The cops wouldn't tell me much, just that he was tied to money laundering, maybe worse. Lauren wasn't off the hook. They'd be watching her, digging into what she knew. She looked at me as they let us go, her face hollow. I'm sorry, Ethan. I didn't know it would end like this. I didn't answer. There was nothing left to say. Mike drove us back to my place. Lauren grabbed her jacket, said she'd stay with Emily, figure things out. I didn't stop her. As she walked away, I felt no anger, no love, just a strange, empty relief. The house was mine again, but it didn't feel like home, not yet. Weeks passed. I started small, rebuilding. New sheets, no trace of her perfume. A coffee maker just for me. I went out with Mike and some old friends, laughed for the first time in months. Emily called once, said Lauren was laying low, maybe moving out of state. I didn't ask for details. Ryan's case was all over the local news. Arrested, charged, no bail. Lauren's name stayed out of it, but I knew she'd carry the weight of her choices forever. One morning, I found her old journal in the attic, the one with that line, I want to feel alive again. I tore out the page, burned it in the backyard, and watched the ashes scatter. I wasn't burning her. I was burning the version of me who'd believed her lies. I stood there, the air crisp, and felt something new, not peace, but possibility. To anyone reading this, caught in the wreckage of betrayal, hear me. It hurts, and it's not fair, but it's not the end. You're not broken. You're just beginning. Take back your space, your time, your heart. The worst day might just be the one that sets you free. I'm Ethan, 35, still here, still learning. And for the first time in a long time, that's enough.